Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. As always, I'm thrilled to be sharing all kinds of new issues with you, and today's a big one. Here's a big question. How does your body, your mind, and your soul respond to a narcissist? Some of you may already know the answer to this, but I have to tell you, it's often in three very different ways. Before we go on, as always, please subscribe to this channel to keep getting this content. Please look out for my book that's coming out in a few weeks, because then all of these answers are in one place. It'll be available on Kindle, e-readers, the regular book, and as an audiobook. So let's go back to the question. How does a narcissist or being with a narcissist affect your body, mind, and soul? Let's start with the easy one. Let's start with your mind. Narcissists, and I hope your kids aren't watching this, narcissists are a mindfuck because they confuse us. They turn us upside down with their gaslighting. Some days are good, so we're like, this is great. I found it. This is the whole package. Charm, charisma, excitement. And then they discard us. They change the rules. They move the goalposts. They throw tantrums and then they apologize. They always leave us feeling off balance. So our minds tend to make excuses for them. Our minds are amazing at being accommodating. Our brains work like computers in that way. They take in the data and they figure things out. And you got to remember, our brain in some ways is a pre-populated computer. It comes to us not only with our own temperament and genetics and things like that, but very quickly it starts learning the rules around us. So for example, if you come from a family where forgiveness is the most important thing, no matter how terrible someone is, your mind is going to hold that. And you're going to come up with complex rationalizations so you can forgive this person. Or if you're taught that quitting, only losers quit, you're like, I can't quit a relationship. I can't quit a job because of a toxic boss. That big lesson can often lead your mind to figure out a way to make excuses, issue second chances, write rationalizations. And it's your mind that often keeps you in a narcissistic relationship longer than you should be. I gotta be honest with you, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, your mind is actually one of the least useful parts of you, because it is so good at saying, well, you had a good day, and a good day is a good thing, so why not try another day? So let's talk about your body, because where your mind may mess with you and always sort of be a little bit too logical, sort of the Dr. Spock of your brain, your body is a heck of a lot more honest. Your body tells the truth. And if you look at some of, for example, Bessel van der Kolk's work on post-traumatic stress, he does a beautiful job, and he says something amazing. He says, the body keeps score. And I agree with that. Your body is honest. So even as your mind is saying, oh, your boss isn't that bad. Oh, come on, your mom, that's just how he is. Or, well, at least your husband, he does pay the bills, kind of thing. Or he looks good to the world. Your mind is doing all this rationalizing. Meanwhile, your body, full of all that honesty, starts falling apart. I have had clients tell me everything from bizarrely developing autoimmune conditions when that wasn't even a risk factor in their family, to having back spasms that were unrelenting, horrifying migraines, pain throughout their body, all kinds of gastrointestinal problems, numerous neurological issues, eye twitches, you name it. Physically, their bodies started giving out. And these were people who were otherwise healthy. Their labs were normal. In general, they took decent care of themselves. Genetically, they were pretty clear. Like, it wasn't like this was playing out some sort of intergenerational cycle of illness. Their bodies started giving out, and it didn't make sense to them. They're like, why is this happening to me? And sometimes it was very interesting. It was like the part of them that wasn't working was exactly the kind of thing that the narcissist was bothering them with. That, like, for example, horrific shoulder pain. when the person felt like they were the only ones carrying the weight of the relationship. Your body keeps score. And I've worked with many, many, many people who are survivors of narcissistic abuse, who when they finally came into my office would say, yeah, I'm trying to figure out this relationship thing out. And then as I start asking them about their general health, they give me a litany of health problems and they can't quite understand where they went. More interesting, in the cases where people are fortunate enough to get rid of that narcissist, a lot of those health problems start to remit. So your body is often honest. And I will tell you, without exception, every person I know who stuck it out in any form of toxic relationship, whether partner, family, boss, friend, they got sicker as time went on, no matter how much their mind tried to rationalize it. So finally, let's talk about our soul. Our soul's an interesting space. I don't even know what to call this. Soul, psyche. It's that part of us that feels. Listen, a neuroscientist is going to say, come on, Ramani, you know that the mind and the body and the psyche are all connected by lovely dendrites and axons and neurotransmitters. Fine. But I got to tell you this. Many, many times what I'll see is people who are having anxiety reactions, fear reactions, or just a sense that they are no longer themselves. They're almost like psychologically uncomfortable, in addition to being physically uncomfortable, even as their mind is saying, stick it out, you can find a compromise, there's another way to think about this. So that rational kind of mind is just sort of fighting and pushing and saying, come on, look at the data, and the data, even when the data is not good. But your psyche also starts to feel sick. The main thing we often see is anxiety, apathy, helplessness, worry, self-doubt. And the thing that bothers me most, the thing I see most often in people who are struggling with this, is a loss of authenticity. People lose themselves. They'll often say like, I don't even know, I don't recognize me anymore. I don't even know what I'm about anymore. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm about. They gave all of that over in the name of this relationship. And think about it. The only way a relationship, a long-term relationship of any kind with a narcissistic person works is if we pawn off parts of ourselves. Because if we bring our true, authentic self into a relationship, we wouldn't put up with this. But we do. And that's that stupid rational mind telling us to stick it out because it's the right thing to do. But our psyche gives in. And different parts of our brain likely are kind of working overtime. The fear network is likely firing and firing. Listen, I've worked with lots of people who will say, as the holidays get closer, there's a heaviness I feel. Like this, not only do they start feeling sick, but they're like, you know, the holidays are supposed to be fun, and there's gifts, and there's dinner, and isn't this great? And yet they say, each day closer, I get sadder and sadder. The psyche knows too. The psyche also keeps score. And that fear increases and increases. They find themselves becoming more irritable, more worried. And even in the day-to-day, I've had many people tell me, when I hear his or her car pull into the driveway, that's when I get upset. And they'll start saying, I hear the car in the driveway, and my heart starts racing, or I feel that uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. And I don't mean this in the case that these are violent relationships. These are just sort of those psychologically numbing, invalidating, dehumanizing relationships that leave you feeling that at best, you're just keeping time and wondering, why am I doing this? So your mind, body, and soul actually experience narcissists in very different ways. And the reason most people stick it out is because they listen to their minds, which is what we often do, even as their body is falling apart and their soul is cracking. If I can give you only one piece of guidance, respect yourself enough to listen not just to your mind. You know, obviously it's got a little bit to bring to the table, but please heed your body, heed your psyche. They're also communicating with you. We are so contemptuous of talking about vulnerability and feelings in our culture that we're not even willing to sit down and feel them in ourselves. And in a world where everything's quick and I can distract myself with Instagram or food or shopping or whatever else I can just sort of summon up quickly, like Netflix and thousands of hours of programming, very rarely do we stop and sit and say, who am I? What am I about? And am I really that person while I'm in this toxic relationship? The answers are there. Don't be afraid. It doesn't mean you got to walk away. It doesn't mean you have to divorce your mother, but it does mean you have to pay attention so you can set boundaries and protect yourself. As always, thanks for listening. Please keep tuning in, subscribing, hit the bell so you can keep getting notifications about this content. Please read my book because a lot of these answers are there, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.